Hi. So I spend a lot of time talking about trauma with people. I go out and present on it a lot. I talk with other therapists and I talk with clients a lot about it. And we spend a lot of time on talking about the effects of trauma, the negative impact that it can have, as well as the symptoms and side effects that can impact us in our daily life based on traumas that have happened in the past. Today, I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about resiliency that people have in the face of trauma. So resiliency is defined as those qualities that we have that in the face of really hard things, growth can happen, that we're able to bounce back, that we're able to survive it, that we're able to come out of it, and we come out of it even stronger. One of my favorite things to when I think about resiliency is if we consider the life of a tree. I heard this story one time and I just thought it was so beautiful. If you ever take time to go out into the woods, or if you're ever in a wood shop, or even just out furniture shopping and you see like a real wood piece of furniture, and in that furniture you may see a knot and you see rings around that knot. And in one piece of furniture you may see, or in one tree you may see several knots and then rings around it. And each knot in a tree represents a trauma that the tree experienced. And then the rings around it are the growth, the strengthening that happens after the trauma that rebuilds and allows the tree to continue on living. And so for some trees, you may see lots of knots, and then for some trees, not so many, but every tree has knots. And I think it's a really great metaphor as we look at and consider resiliency in the face of trauma. So you may have experienced trauma. You may have experienced trauma when you were little. They may have been things that have happened to you that you didn't want to happen to you, you didn't ask for, things that were really scary, or it could have been things that happened to you that, or things that didn't happen that you needed to happen, like being cared for or loved or cherished or tended to when that didn't happen either. And that can be another form of trauma. But what we can look at is, how did you grow through that? How did you adapt in that? What are your resiliency measures that came out of those experiences? And what are the strengths, the things that you learned in that? And so, yes, we spend a lot of time talking about PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder, and we look at the function that trauma can play on these negative impacts in our life. But I want to also offer that trauma can also bring positive things for us. There's strengths that we gain in the face of trauma. We can learn how strong we really are. We can see how resilient we really are. We can see the things that we are capable of that we never would have known about ourselves before. So as you consider your trauma moment or moments, and you think about that now, take some time to consider, what did I learn from that? What did I learn about myself? What are some things that I know about myself now? And how do I know that what I experienced isn't the thing that helped me be where I am today, to help me survive where I am today? And so it's another way to think about trauma. There's actually an inventory you can go online and take. It's called the Post-Traumatic Growth Inventory. And it looks at a couple measures in terms of growth that can happen in the aftermath or in the face of trauma. It looks at, one of the measures it looks as relating to others and our ability to relate to others. It looks at our ability to now have empathy for others because of what we've experienced, these hardships that we have, and how we can actually now, when other people experience hard things, we feel that too. It looks at new possibilities that we have in our life now because of that, because of what we've experienced. It looks at personal strengths that we've gained based on our experience in the trauma, the things that we learned how to do to be able to survive those trauma experiences or that trauma experience. It may even look at, what's the spiritual changes that have happened. Maybe you grew closer to your higher power, you grew closer to God. There's a deeper spiritual understanding and meaning in your life because of that traumatic experience. Maybe there's a new appreciation for life that you have now because of that experience that you had that you didn't have before. Maybe life was a little bit more flippant or carefree, and now you have an appreciation that for life and what you have to offer in life. And so as you consider your experiences now, I just want to offer that what would it be like to think about the growth, the meaning that you might make because of the experience or experiences you've had? Is there any way that they have added to, more so, or not just taken away from your life? And what are those things that have been added to your life because of the experiences that you have? How have they been a part of making you who you are? And those resilience, those strengths, those things that you didn't know you were capable of, that you know now that you are, how do those play a role as you move forward? Thank you for your time today, and I hope that this gives you some encouragement in looking at your traumas just from a little bit of a different perspective.